Levez-vous, mesdames et messieurs, pour le président de l'exécutif du gouverneur de l'État de Hondo.
Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa,
Son Excellence,
we're so pleased to have you.
nous sommes très contents. Soyez le bienvenu.
Now to perform the national anthem and Ondo State Anthem, the Emeralds Choir. Let's welcome them to the stage.
C'est le moment pour l'hymne national. J'aimerais inviter le choral de l'État de Hondo pour dire présentation.
Well, that was incredible. Thank you so much to the Emeralds Choir. Let's give them one more round of applause. Your Excellency, thank you for joining us. And thank you to all of you. We're going to have an incredible day. I'd like to bring up now my co-host, the other MC that'll be joining us, Nancy. Nancy, thank you so much.
Soyez le bienvenu, mademoiselle Nancy.
Thank you so much. Hello. Thank you, Mr. Dustin. Hello, everyone. Good morning. How's everyone doing today?
Come on, that's the best you've got. How are you doing?
Ondo. Should we take it the ethnic way? Baoni. Shalafiani. That's the only Yoruba I know, so please don't expect more. Thank you so much for joining us. We know we have people from all over the world joining us today at the GEF conference. We're having a great time, aren't we? I also want to especially thank Your Excellency. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Thank you so much, ma'am, Mrs. Folorusho Alakija. Thank you so much, Ma. It's so good to see you, Ma. Thank you for bringing God to us. We appreciate all the VIPs seated here. We appreciate you. We do not take your presence for granted. As usual, those sitting, we hope that you sit back and enjoy the event and take something home. Don't forget to tell everyone on social media what is going on as it's happening. Sir Dustin, what's going on?
Une fois encore, soyez le bienvenu, mesdames et messieurs, Son Excellence, Madame Foucho Alakija, Reverend Hester Hajayi, et tous les protocoles que vous avez ici. Soyez le bienvenu, nous vous apprécions. Merci.
So now we're going to have our welcome speech. Who's going to be welcoming us today?
Yes, welcoming us today is, and giving us our welcome remarks. Please, ladies and gentlemen, I know your hands are not busy, so please a round of applause for Mr. Dan Walkowitz.
Nous voulons inviter Monsieur Dow pour le message de bienvenue. Soyez le bienvenu, monsieur.
My name is Dan Walkowitz. As you know, I'm chairman of Entrepreneurship Village. First, I'd like to acknowledge and welcome honored guests. Certainly, Your Excellency, Governor Aiyedatiwa. It's a pleasure to see you again. Your Excellency, Deputy Governor Adelame. Mr. Max Zamet. Mr. Adesini, and Mrs. Olakini. Such a pleasure to welcome you all, honored speakers, other guests, entrepreneurs, and other folks interested in entrepreneurship. So I'm looking at a mass of people out there. How many of you are entrepreneurs? All right. So if you're excited about what we're going to be doing here for the next 3 days, please say yes. Yes. Louder. Yes. Yes. This is the most extraordinary entrepreneurial festival in the world. How many of you know how many people Tesla employs? I do. It's 140,000 people. How many people does Apple's and people? What about Microsoft? 220,000 people. Or Amazon? 1.5 million people. Over 2 million people in those 4 companies, and millions more who provide support, resources, and are vendors for those companies. But you realize something? Every one of those huge organizations began as a dream in a garage or a small apartment. Do you have dreams? Tell me, do you entrepreneurs have dreams? Do you really? I'm not hearing that. Do you have dreams? These organizations and hundreds of others are exemplary of what you can make happen in your own space here in Nigeria. And those are just modern stories. In America, when we became a country 250 years ago, somebody decided they wanted to trade with other countries. Somebody invested in a ship to help that individual fulfill his or her dream. In the Industrial Revolution, we got the cotton gin. Electricity came soon thereafter. Factory structure came into place, all because someone had a dream and someone else believed in that dream. That's what we're all about here today, helping entrepreneurs who have dreams. And I will tell you, I've told people personally since I came in August, I have never in my life seen such entrepreneurial enthusiasm and spirit as I see in Nigeria. We talk about Entrepreneurship Village as a miniature Silicon Valley. I realized something just the other day. Silicon Valley started because of a visionary who was an electrical engineering professor at Stanford University in the Bay Area of California. He had worked on radio waves on behalf of the military during World War II. He recognized that the San Francisco Bay Area was unique environmentally. The climate, consistent temperatures, low humidity, was perfect because the electrostatic electricity that impedes radio waves was minimized, if non-existent, in the Bay Area. He convinced 4 people, Mr. Hewlett, David Packard, and 2 Varian brothers, to turn down job offers at General Electric, and instead to form Hewlett Packard and Varian. Then he developed Stanford Research Park, right in that Palo Alto area. And the research park, I went to Stanford Business School. When I went there, it was huge. It wasn't 2 entities. It had expanded enormously. Now it's Silicon Valley. So what was the one remaining element that was missing? Stanford University, that I failed to mention. Stanford University, a world-class research organization and world-class education. So let's think about Entrepreneurship Village. Professor Turman was a visionary. We have Dr. Sumi Smart Francis as our visionary, and there could not be a visionary more charismatic, more dedicated to building Entrepreneurship Village. We also map nicely into the environment. Separate from climate, we have Governor Ayedatiwa, His Excellency President Tinubu, and the government of Ondo State and of Nigeria, who are taking specific initiatives and investing in entrepreneurship and talking about it as the means of eradicating poverty. The environment is here. We don't need to convince Hewlett and Packard and the Varian brothers to be entrepreneurs here, because you are those entrepreneurs. You don't need convincing. You're ready to go. So what is the single factor of Silicon Valley that I haven't mentioned in Nigeria, in Ondo State? Stanford University with Silicon Valley. We have Entrepreneurship Village. Entrepreneurship Village is being created to meet the demand for education, resources, and just camaraderie. Videos, or as simple as content for social media posting. It's going to have a sports venue. It's going to have co-working spaces. We're going to have tech companies, just like in Silicon Valley, that offices at Entrepreneurship Village. We're going to have educational structures, very similar to Stanford. Perhaps, you never can tell, Stanford will be involved as well. Entrepreneurship Village is putting a stake in the ground for entrepreneurs. And the GEF, this 3-day incredible event that we're all going to experience together, this is the first step to really exhibit what Nigerian entrepreneurs are all about, and those who are coming as investors to hear pitches and to meet these young entrepreneurs. You, young entrepreneurs. As you know, we're going to have 12 separate venues. We're going to have collaboration rooms. We're going to have pitch rooms. We're going to have a women's congress. We're going to have opportunities galore, as Sir Dustin said, for you to engage with other people, to meet and share. I've been here a day and I've already learned so much from so many people. 3 days of this will be sheer bliss. You know, I live in Colorado, and the southwestern part of Colorado where I live is home to a lot of Native Americans. And the Native Americans have many, many cultural items that are very significant. One item they have is called a dream catcher. It's a round, typically made out of wood, circle, with feathers and ropes and all manners of materials mixed in between to create a beautiful structure. The idea of the dream catcher is you put it in your room at night when you're sleeping, and it will prevent the bad dreams from coming through and allow only the good dreams to come through. That's what Entrepreneurial Village is going to do for entrepreneurs. It's going to help filter out those negative, difficult parts of being an entrepreneur with resources, and it's going to open the way for your dreams, the good dreams, to come through. I have to tell you, I've been involved with Entrepreneurship Village for 3 years. I have donated, contributed, as have so many other members of the Entrepreneurship Village board, and certainly the GEF board, and so many of you here. For those who are capable, I would ask you, as you're witnessing this incredible event for the next 3 days, as you're experiencing what it's like to help entrepreneurs become successful so that they can help eradicate poverty, I ask you to think about how you might contribute, how you might donate, because if all of us together can help make Entrepreneurship Village all that it's capable of being, Entrepreneurship Village will help make entrepreneurs all that they're capable of being.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dan. Thank you. I hope everyone is still feeling good. The day just begun, and I also wanted to tell you, we're all part of this. We're not just listening today, we're also partaking. So who knows, I just might be beside you very soon asking you 1 or 2 questions. So please make sure that you're a part and you're listening and you're also taking something home with you.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Diane. Nous vous apprécions pour votre message. Mesdames et messieurs, nous sommes ici ensemble. C'est le moment. Merci.
With us today, we have Chief of Staff to Mr. Governor of Ondo State, Prince Segun Omojua. Thank you so much for your presence. We also have our Special Advisor on Health, Professor Michael Simidele Udimayo. I'm hoping that was spelled right. Thank you so much for joining us. Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Honorable Lola Fagbemi. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am. The essay to Mr. Governor on Education, Dr. Wumi Ilawole. I'm really hoping I can see the handwriting. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am, Dr. Wumi. Head of Service, Ondo State, Mr. Bayo Philip. Thank you so much for joining us. And last but not least, because there's still more people here, we'll get it as we go, essay to Mr. Governor on Gender, Honorable Olamide Falano. A round of applause, please.
Ce protocole dûment observé, mesdames et messieurs, soyez le bienvenu.
So today we're talking about entrepreneurship. And as we know, this is 2024. We do have a lot of people springing up, a lot of young people, Gen Z, as you might call them, Gen Alpha, whatever it is, millennials. And as we can see, they're believing more in themselves, right? They're opening businesses, they're deciding to be CEOs, to own their brands, not just be ambassadors to brands, even while influencing. They're also taking the bold initiative to open their own businesses and head it, you know? And I think that's going fantastically well. If you can notice, there's a whole influx of that happening. Do we have entrepreneurs in the house tonight, today?
Nous sommes les entrepreneurs ici aujourd'hui.
We do have entrepreneurs in the house. A round of applause for them, please.
Applaudissez s'il vous plaît.
I'm going to come downstage because I want to talk to you for a second. I want to see how it goes because, you know, a lot of people think it's easy. People think it's challenging. People think it's hard. But I want to hear from you. What is it like being an entrepreneur in Nigeria? Okay. So where are the entrepreneurs? I saw you raise your hand. Yes. Thank you so much.
Merci.
Your business is based here. Yes, ma'am, please stand up. Your business is based here in Ondo. What do you do? Where?
What business ici?
In Lagos. So what do you do? And tell us how it was like putting this business together, your capital, and what it's looking like at the moment.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais, mademoiselle?
My name is Blessing Unoka, the CEO of Market AI. Market AI is a women-led agri-tech company. And coincidentally, we had the first Nigerian IoT solar-powered production facility, which you can control from anywhere in the world with just a smartphone. It has been challenging because we did it with bootstraps, and it's a multi-million naira company. It has been stressful, but I'm capable to the task. Thank you, ma.
A round of applause. I want us to be aware today that we don't just have VIPs in the house, we also have people who are really flaunting businesses and are doing absolutely well right here in Nigeria, especially for our amazing guests who have flown in from around the world. You said 40 million naira putting it together. A multi-million naira. What was your capital like?
I started with just 300,000 naira. So, but selling healthy natural food products, soya milk, and the fact that I was able to include technology like AI, IoT, and solar energy made people who value sustainability and healthy food products to buy from me, and that's how we scaled up.
Nigeria, the land of talent and brains. Who else is an entrepreneur here? Yes, sir. Let's hear. What do you do? You might have to stand up. Thank you so much. What do you do? And what was your capital like starting this business?
Qu'est-ce que tu fais et l'argent pour commencer le business?
Hi everyone. All protocols duly observed. I'm Akimbala Prizola-Lumiji. I'm the COO, that's Chief Operating Officer, Devolder Global, and it's a tech training institute and academy, and also a software development company. Yeah, I have partners with companies both in the UK and Canada, and I would say Nigeria has great potential in terms of technological advancement. Why? Because in terms of technological exposure, there's a lot of work to be done, and that's what my company does. Because I'm also a public speaker. I've held events both in Africa and also with the likes of Google and some other startups. So I would say there's a lot to gain. Yeah, and I'll say there's a lot also from the government end to even put us out on the globe. Because my company visions Nigeria as the technological advancement hub for other countries of the world. So we are going to be the trailblazers to set the standards upright for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Fantastic. Do we have entrepreneurs that are based here, that have a business here that is thriving or even just starting? Let's hear from you. What do you do and what was the capital like?
Good morning, everybody. Okay, so basically into exportation of African food to other countries, like charcoals inclusive. So when I started, I didn't really start with a capital. I just got a client that paid, and I started distributing and getting to meet one or two persons from there. Thank you. It's really stressful finding clients outside the country. Yeah, it's a lot, but thank you.
Thank you so much. You know what GEF is also about? Is also networking, knowing what person does and what the other person does. So please, even after the event, feel free to sit down and ask each other what you do. And for the lady who does charcoal business, you know now where to get charcoal from. I'm sure a lot of you want to cook something, but you're looking for where can I get it? I'm sure she can deliver. So make sure. Okay, we're going to take just one more, and then we're going to keep this moving. What do you do, and what has been the impact in the Nigerian economy so far so good?
Qu'est-ce que tu fais et la contribution?
All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Ogushakin Timlin Shei. I'm the founder of MedXLearn. And MedXLearn was founded in Oyo State and Lagos. So since the establishment, MedXLearn has been able to train over 40,000 medical students across the globe. And it's a medical educational technology company. And I also recruited AI engineers, students with skills that doesn't know where they want to, explore. So we developed an AI. And what the AI does is that it's programmed in such a way that students that don't have access to textbooks, materials, and the like, for example, a textbook of medicine is above 30,000 naira, 40, 50, 100,000 naira. So what this AI does is that just enter what you want. The AI will produce every necessary thing. So you don't need to purchase any textbook if you don't have money. And the AI is totally free to access. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Like I said, Nigeria, Africa, the home of talent and brains. He talked about AI. And I know there's been this controversial talk about AI. Some people think it's helpful and some people think it's not helpful. But I want to ask some of our guests here, do you think AI will be profitable to the Nigerian economy in the long run? Mr. Hassan.
Hello, definitely AI can be leveraged on as long as it doesn't replace the emotional intelligence that we have. And nothing offsets the emotional intelligence, the empathy which we would have. So it should be complementary to our business, in addition to other trends of business as augmented reality, virtual reality, IoT. So we should leverage, capitalize on them without replacing us human beings.
Because we're right here in the home of Your Excellency, sir, thank you so much for joining us. Still on a question, hello ma'am, hello ma'am. Good to see you all, hello sir. Still on a question about AI being profitable. We've seen what the youth sometimes can be on social media. So as a governor in your state, do you think you would allow something such as artificial intelligence where people can clone businesses, but people can also help people and can also be profitable? But do you think it's a welcome development in your state, especially with the kind of entrepreneurs that you have, sir?
Thank you and good morning, everyone. You see, in the world today, everything is being driven by technology for efficiency, for increase in productivity, and turnaround time. So AI is very important, it's good, and it helps. As long, just like the last speaker said, it's not replacing human beings. And the social intelligence of human beings is still there. After all, it's going to be operated by humans. So it's allowed. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you so much, sir. And thank you everyone who has spoken so far. I wish I could talk to a couple more entrepreneurs in the house today, which we might do eventually. We might have a little something for you. I just need to confirm. But in the meantime, I please urge you to use your pads, use your pen, also put on social media what is happening. you know, like we said, AI, artificial intelligence, can also be of help, and we can actually use it today. Even if it's not AI, we can also let people know what is happening here.
AI est très important et il y a beaucoup d'usage.
Yes. And now we want to invite our keynote speaker, who would be giving us a speech today to talk to us and to, you know, inspire us. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about none other but a very inspirational woman, a mother to many, a businesswoman through and through. Please, with your hands, of course, not busy, a round of applause. You can give us a standing ovation.
Levez-vous, mesdames et messieurs.
Mrs. Folorusho Alakija.
Maintenant, nous voulons inviter Madame Folorusho Alakija pour le discours d'ouverture. Applaudissez, s'il vous plaît.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, all invited guests, VIPs from all over the world, and every entrepreneur that's here or listening from different parts of the world. I welcome you all. God bless you. Since our theme for today's event, or this huge GEF event, is Beyond Boundaries, I'd like you to listen to this clip.
Education through entrepreneurship is our theme for this Global Entrepreneurship Festival. What if I pass this same message from different parts of the world? Poverty is a problem that knows no boundaries. It exists across race, genders, geographies, and class. It exists in the slums of megacities, in isolated rural villages, and even in developed nations, where the economic gap continues to widen. It manifests as hunger, unemployment, inadequate healthcare, and an overall lack of opportunities. Also, it continues to limit the potentials of other people. But while poverty transcends borders, so too must our solutions. To fight poverty effectively, we need to work beyond boundaries, thinking not just locally, but globally, by leveraging one of the most powerful available to us, entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship must also go beyond borders, just as poverty does. We live in an increasingly globalized world, where technology has erased many of the barriers that once confined businesses to local markets. Today, an entrepreneur in a small village can sell their products across continents, and a startup in one country can provide services to clients in another. This is how we must think, beyond boundaries. We need to create systems where ideas, funding, and resources can flow freely across regions. This means supporting global networks of entrepreneurs, fostering international partnerships, and using digital platforms to connect entrepreneurs from different parts of the world. For example, digital hubs and incubators have already proven that with the right support, even the smallest enterprise can have a global impact. When we provide entrepreneurs with the right support, ecosystem, and access to global markets. The limitations of their physical locations no longer hold them back. That is why it is truly inspiring to witness the Entrepreneurship Village, Africa's own Silicon Valley, where entrepreneurs and innovators will be developed and empowered. By giving them an ecosystem to try, we will be addressing the challenges of poverty as an institution. I therefore encourage every one of you to support this global social impact project. We all have a role to play in tackling poverty, and we must act with urgency. Each one of us has the potential to create opportunities that reach far beyond our immediate surroundings, between communities and nations, foster innovation, and provide the resources necessary for entrepreneurs to thrive. By empowering entrepreneurs, we're investing in a future where poverty no longer dictates the destiny of generations. Together, let's break down the barriers, go beyond boundaries, and unlock the full potentials of people everywhere. The Global Entrepreneurship Festival stands as the biggest entrepreneurship event in the world. Congratulations to Ondo State, congratulations to Nigeria, and congratulations to Africa. This festival is poised to tackle the pressing issue of poverty, not only Africa, but all over the world. We are here to bring global awareness, attention, and innovative solutions to the nagging problems of poverty that persist in our societies. I'm filled with optimism about the impact of this great event, the impact it will have on a global scale. Our discussions and our deliberations here are not merely academic, they are a call to action. Yes, poverty can be eradicated, and it begins with you and I, no matter where you are.
Thank you again. I mean, we have entrepreneurs from around the world. Let's see what countries we have. I know we have Sweden. Shout out some other countries where you're from. South Africa. Keep going. Tanzania.
The PEC.
All over, literally all over the world have come here. So we're going to bring up now our panel discussion to talk about Beyond Boundaries, Poverty Eradication Through Entrepreneurship. Bring up my panelists, Mike, Mia, Tony, Hassan, Allah, and Mamatak. Please join us on the stage.
Mesdames et messieurs, c'est le moment pour le signage de panel avec le thème Au-delà des frontières, l'éradication de pauvreté grâce à l'entrepreneur. Et nous vous avons invité, monsieur, soyez le bienvenu. Merci.
And when they're getting ready, I'm going to ask the governor this question before I ask the panelists. So, Your Excellency, all right. Eradication of poverty, can it be done?
Through entrepreneurship, yes, it can be done.
Tous les parleurs, soyez bienvenus.
How can it be done?
Through entrepreneurship, by government providing enabling environment and security for lives and property so that everybody can do and go about their businesses and do what they want to do within the limits of the law without fear.
So without fear. That's incredible. Let's give him a round. He said something, the government should support entrepreneurs. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Panelists, please turn on your mics if it's not already on. Thank you.
So you heard it from the governor, that it takes leadership to give their full support to change the system. Before we get into the dialogue, I'd like you to introduce yourself. What's your name? Where are you from? What do you do? Starting on my right, La.
Hi.
I guess so.
It's such a great pleasure to be here with you, everyone. My name is Ala Khalifa, and I am a marketing consultant for a number of international companies around the world, and also I have my own businesses in terms of marketing research, support, and incubating and sustainability businesses. I help different communities to emerging projects to foster. It's a great pleasure. I came all the way from Cairo to see you today, and I have to tell you, I was overwhelmed by your generosity, and I look forward to have a very mutual understanding between our different cultures so that we can help ourselves expand and eradicate all the obstacles that we have in our communities today. Thank you, Sir Justin, for inviting us today. And I'm not going to talk too much about myself because I don't want to do that. You can look me up, and I'm here. I spent the rest of my life doing nothing but having one thing: resilience, to get success. And this is my only advice. I'm going to advise all those young people that I've seen today: resilience. Without resilience, you'll never be successful. Go ahead, venture in what you want to start, and you will be successful, and never give up. Thank you.
Hassan.
Hello. So I'm Dr. Hassan Yunus. I'm a university professor and an author, a researcher as well. This is the academic side. I'm a practitioner. I've strategically advised many UN organizations in Lebanon and the region, and I've led on some incubators and accelerators to support startups, whether at the idea stage or to accelerate their business if they are scale-ups. So thanks a lot for your inspiring talks and for this generous invitation. Adding to what Mr. Ala has said, he said resilience. Actually, I believe that the number one trait for entrepreneurs is persistence. Yet, coming from Lebanon, I can't talk about only persistence, but I talk about persistence and resistance. Because while being here today, my colleagues who teach at universities, my friends who are AI engineers, who are entrepreneurs, are fighting in the southern borders of Lebanon because Israel is trying to occupy our country. Many of my colleagues have been killed. My grandparents' house was destroyed. My capital, Beirut, is at the risk of being destroyed totally. I'm receiving WhatsApp notifications while being here showing the maps of the destruction in Lebanon. So I believe that resistance and persistence are the two traits of entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Dr. Tony.
My name is Dr. Tony Bettle. I am the chairman and founder of Shinebridge Global Incorporated. We are a food solution provider. From research and development as a food scientist, today in Nigeria, we are leading the cassava industrialization project. And how are we doing that? And what is the vision? I am so honored to have Grand Matron Alakija here this morning. This is the second time I'm sitting in the same room as her good self. When we met in her family home, she asked a simple question of two of us who were advising a former Minister of Agriculture. And she said, so Tony, what is it that we can do to make a change and feed people and eradicate poverty in Nigeria? And we went on with our big ideas, Pringles snacks and what have you. And she was not satisfied. After we left, 3 or 4 years ago, 4 years later, the answer came to me. That answer we were looking for, that she was asking for the people, for the masses, was the food that all the masses, people, whether you are poor or rich, can actually consume. And so for us, cassava has become the backbone for research and development innovation, for commercialization, and to fortify everything called cassava. And by uplifting all entrepreneurs in Nigeria, the local entrepreneurs who are into cassava farming, cassava processing, we are now on the downstream side. We want to make sure that we're making baby foods from cassava going forward. We want to make sure that we are feeding our children with school lunch program fortified going forward. And by the way, we are earning foreign exchange. The global market is huge. So we have no boundaries in taking cassava to the world.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mamotake Matikani. I hail all the way from Lesotho, a beautiful mountain kingdom right in the middle of South Africa. I'm also South African, yes. I'm also South African. So I wear many hats. I am the COO of MGC Africa. It's a conglomerate in property, aviation, medicinal cannabis, farming, hospitality, and many other things. Other than that, I believe in breaking boundaries, and I believe that if it doesn't exist, you have to create it. I am an executive director and one of the founders of a special economic zone right in the middle of Lesotho. We are building a secluded special economic zone that will serve the whole world. We have boundaries and limitations when we have to visit certain countries, and you're told that you cannot enter. We're breaking all those boundaries, and I am leading that project. Other than that, I'm an entrepreneur in industrials, and we manufacture steel and composite. We build trains, we build buses, we build aeroplanes, you name it. We mold your ideas into shape. We're based in South Africa and Tanzania. Other than that, I am also a consultant in private equity. I believe in investing in ideas that will change the economy and the landscape of Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much to the governor, distinguished guests, and also dignitaries. I am from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I'm really happy to be here today. Naija, how una de? Oh, that's right, I've been learning. Yes, so I'm Mia Boykins. I'm a global entrepreneur and speaker. And I'm also Director of Partnerships and External Engagement for the Georgia House of Representatives. So while I'm from Louisiana, I have lived and studied in 6 countries, including France, England, Spain, Taiwan, Jamaica, and also the USA. So thank you so much. Very focused on education, investing in education. I'm also a humanitarian. I've started various scholarships and helped over 20 students to graduate university. So definitely looking forward to learning from everyone here today, and also to be able to invest in you all and your businesses. One of my key phrases is to start where you are and leverage your skill sets so that you can pursue business. So thank you so much. I'm looking forward to learning from everyone here today on the panel and also in the audience.
My name is Mike. I just want to start by saying I actually love the spicy rice. So Dustin, that's my favorite. So thank you so much for those. No, but I would say I'm just like you. What do? I'm a creator. I'm a powerful creator. And just like Picasso, he said, first I see my picture, and then I painted. And I figured that out in a very young age, and now I have built multi-million-dollar companies, several of them in different markets. And now I write books, and I coach entrepreneurs to become the absolute best version of themselves. I coach them to think at their highest so they can create their highest life. And I'm a firm believer that whatever we put into the soil and we water it, something will come up. But we will never stop watering it. So, dreaming is such a big part of an entrepreneur. Everything starts with a dream, but there's one thing you always have to add to it. That is massive action. And that's where most people, they fail because they lose the belief. So if you believe it, I promise you all, you can achieve it.
Thank you very much, Mike. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. And the reason this panel to me is something that's very close to heart was that I grew up in a very poor family. I grew up in California, and people might think, well, boy, everyone there is wealthy. Well, my family wasn't. My mother left when I was 18 months old. My father was not a very nice man. I wouldn't want to be married to him either. At the age of 4, my dad did a bunch of stupid stuff. He wasn't able to work after that. I got then taken away from my dad, and I was put into an orphanage in California with my then older sister. You see, I looked at others, and they had more. I didn't know what I didn't know. I grew up in an orphanage for my first years of my life. And after that, I had to work harder than everybody else. I didn't have someone that gave me a bunch of money to start a business. Quite frankly, I didn't know how to start a company. I dropped out of high school, barely made it. I mean, I literally barely made getting out of high school. I couldn't focus long enough. I had to work to pay my bills. People look at me now and they say to me, boy, you've got everything. I say, you have no idea. I was at the bottom of the well. I am convinced that success leaves clues. It is all around you, from the way people look to the way they talk to the shoes that they have, and that if you do it for long enough and you emulate them, their success or some of it will wear off on you. My first company I started was when I was about 13 years old. It was a snowstorm outside. We have that in Maryland, where I now call home. I had a shovel. There was snow. The idea sparked in my head. I walked around the neighborhood, knocked on doors. Hi, my name's Dustin. I got a shovel, you got snow. And thus the entrepreneurial side of me began. That's how it begins. You have to first put it out there. Well, guess what? The leaves fell out of the trees, and all of a sudden people had leaves, and I had a rake. Really, I mean, this is this simple. That's how it begins to be an entrepreneur. A hobby began. I like to read books. Other people like to read books. I'll sell them the books that I have and that I no longer want. So I'm excited to get to know each one of your stories. How did it begin? Because for some of us, I lacked resources. I simply didn't have it. And when you lack resources, you need to become resourceful. I'd like you to write that down. Take your fancy pen and paper, your cell phone, write down, when you lack resources, be resourceful. To my right, Allah.
Yes.
We live in a country that has a unique group. Those that have a lot, those that have some, and those that have nothing. You figured out a way to build a business. You figured out a way to survive and thrive in an industry when there was already people that had it. They already owned the travel industry. They already owned tourism. You figured out a way to develop your niche. Give us the condensed version. How did you do it?
Well, it's a long story, but it is so inspiring. When I started my business, the first business I've ever had in my life was in the tourism industry. It wasn't a travel agency. It wasn't a travel book. What I did was a travel information website that brought me $2 million in 4 years because of a simple idea. I thought, what about those millions of people when I was in university? What about those millions of people who are looking for a source of information that help them shaping out their experiences through travel. So what I did, I came in 1999 and I started doing AskAladdin.com. Aladdin is my name, and Ask is where you put all the content for people to come in and find their content about a country. And that's way before Google would have been even come to existence. And so when I put all of this early content, the only reason that was my motivation wasn't the money, wasn't the income, wasn't the resources, and it was the most simplest resources I've ever used, was only to put down the right information. And when you put down the right information, you become a consultant to other people. And this is exactly what happens. I gained the trust transformed into transactions after that. And so back in 1999, when I built the project and it started to foster, by 2004, when Google came into business, I was the only source for travel information to my country, beyond governmental portals. And that was my first project. And it continued all the way until 2013, when it came to my mind that, hey, it's about time that I would do something completely different to help people help themselves. How about if I do a marketing consultancy company? I'm a CEO of Digital Experts Marketing. My company helped out more than 2,000 companies and entrepreneurs and startups to brand and rebrand and scale their businesses and go to the next level. Why? Because I found it a gap. This gap was in their industry where they should be filling that gap. The entire term of entrepreneurship, it's about to start something and to find a solution for something. Don't think it's about building up a business. It's about finding a solution for somebody who got stuck. Utilizing technology, utilizing artificial intelligence, utilizing machine learning, it's important to find that gap. And when you find the gap, fill in the gap and start running within that ecosystem, because other people will run behind you and you will have your business copied hundreds of times. But the more faster you are, the more goals that you're going to reach better than anybody else. So, and when we continued doing what we were doing, helping out different companies, putting out plans and strategies for them, just COVID came in. And when COVID came in, okay, it's about time we become fully AI. So we transformed our entire operation to be AI. And in order to transform the mindset of our employees within our companies, I'm not only in Egypt, I'm in Egypt, United Arab Emirates, we have 2 big offices there. And it's about time that we don't depend only on things we have to utilize tools and technology. Until COVID passed.
No, wait a second. So I see you shaking your head a lot over there. COVID, you keep going like this, COVID. How did it impact your world?
Wow, COVID impacted me greatly. So I'm the founder of Global Management and Marketing LLC, and my company services those at the intersection of entertainment, business, and government. So during COVID, I was more reaching, well, prior to COVID, I was reaching people in person. I'd worked with different governments in over 70 countries, and I thought, you know, for me, it was easy. I was focusing on those type of interactions. After COVID, everything went online. And actually, unlike my panelists, I wasn't situated fully online. So I actually had to really just pivot and restructure my entire business to be able to capture some of the online and virtual communications.
Mike, I'm going to jump over to you for this one, because eradication, to get rid of, entrepreneurship, having money. Well, I was interviewing somebody by the name of Gene Simmons. Anybody know his name? Gene Simmons from a legendary rock band, Kiss. And he said to me that money wasn't the root of all evil. it was the lack of money that was the root of evil. Who agrees with that in this room? The lack of money. So how do we make money, Mike? How are we going to do that to get us out of our situation if maybe all we have is our voice?
Well, first of all, you need to find something someone wants to buy. That's the basic thing. You need to find something that people have a need for. But more important, I believe you need to find something you love doing. I used to say that there's two types of people that really gets a lot of success, and one of them I call the river people, and the other one I call the goal people. So the river people, they find their river. It could be a river within science. It could be a river within coaching, or what do I know, food. Just a river you just love to swim in. And they just want to swim in that river. They just want to, go down there early in the morning, be in that river all day long. And they love that, and they become masters in that river. And then you have the goal people. They just love to accomplish stuff. And they're also very good at it. But at some point they run out of goals. And they will lose that interest. So, to make money is about serving. You need to serve really hard, but most of all you need to serve yourself with something you love doing, because if you're doing something you love doing, you will have resilience, as we're talking about. Yeah.
So I'm going to ask this question because I know in the room there's some very, very successful women that have started their companies. How many have kids? It is very easy to say, well, I can't start a business because I've got a family. I can't have a company because I have a family. Yet I am on the stage, and I'm going to talk. You and I spoke yesterday. You have 3.
Yep.
3 children. Your youngest being 4.
2 human beings, not AI, not
So how do you find this balance? Yeah. How do you find this balance? How do you go live your dream and yet still be mom? How do you do both?
First of all, you have to be intentional. You can't wake up in the morning just for the sake of breathing the same air with everybody else. You have to be intentional about your life. But nothing comes easy. And I know we talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about this, we want to build businesses, but nothing comes easy. You have to be intentional about everything that you do. I'm intentional about being the best mom to my kids. I'm intentional about being successful. I'm intentional about being a black, beautiful woman. I'm intentional about everything. So you have to wake up and want to do that with your whole heart. But I hear people talk about entrepreneurship, this and that. We know how difficult it is. The struggle of building a business from scratch is something else, out of this world. And we talk about entrepreneurship in isolation from other things. There are things that are foundations that build what an entrepreneur should be. There's education. I don't want to get off this stage without touching on a very important factor, which is the kind of education that we give our kids, yet we expect them to succeed. How do we teach them still today to dissect a locust? How are they going to use that in life? We need to be intentional. Teach them about entrepreneurship. Teach them about agriculture from a very young age. That way we are creating a future that is sustainable. And being an entrepreneur means that someone in life, just one person, has to give you a chance. What we don't understand, we sit on this side of the table being successful, and we're happy about it. We talk about our successes, how happy we are, this is what I have achieved. Who else have you helped to get them to the next stage for them to be successful? We need to stop being selfish and understand that if we want to create any kind of change in this world, especially in Africa, give someone a chance. Just one chance, you will change that person's destiny.
So you said something really interesting to me, and here's how I heard it. When you take the easy path, your life will be hard. When you take the hard path, your life will become easy. That's what I heard. How many here were born into families where their parents, grandparents, somewhere took the easy path? Probably many people are like, I'm frustrated. Well, you're now at this juncture here where you can learn something new, and it's going to be hard. It won't be easy. Hassan, how many years have you been working on becoming a master of your trade? How many years have you committed? Hassan, you first.
Yeah.
How many years have you committed, and how many hours go into it?
Yeah, actually, just I can relate with what you've said, your personal story, and with one of the quotes, the lack of money leads to what it should lead to in terms of being entrepreneurial, because necessity is the mother of invention. And commenting on what you've said, I guess one of the traits of entrepreneurs is time management. And this leads to the issue of work-life balance. I'm a father of 2 kids, and I know what work-life balance is. And entrepreneurship definitely requires a lot of hard work, whether at the academic level or at the practitioner's level. Actually, in the year 2006, I was finishing my BA and intending to start my double master's program between Lebanon and France when my dad had a brain stroke, I guess it's called like this, a brain damage, which led to partial paralysis, and he stayed in bed for 1 full year. He was a businessman working in perfumery and cosmetics. After he got back to business after more than a year, we've realized in the year 2008 that his multi-million-dollar business was in debt, in a $1 million debt. We had partners back then. They were liable legally for $500,000, and we were liable for $500,000, but the business was bankrupt. My brother was abroad, my only brother, and I had to take care of this debt, especially that my brother and my mother had to pay some checks. My partners, out of bad intentions, had to ask them to pay checks because my father, who was supposed to sign, wasn't there. So in the year 2008, I realized that at the age of 24, I'm in a $500,000 debt. So back then, I finished my double master's program. I turned into a working machine. Academia alone is not enough, although I was working at 5 different universities, lecturing at 5 different universities, including Notre Dame University, AUB, American University of Beirut, among others. I decided to start giving consultancies as an individual. So my consultancy path started, and I've started mentoring entrepreneurs in incubators and accelerators, and believing in social impact, I approached many NGOs, civil society organizations, UN organizations, and I was hired as a mentor, as a consultant, working on ideas which have social impact. This led to starting my own consultancy firm to consolidate all the things which I do fragmentally in one business. I've started my consultancy firm in the year 2013. This required a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, resilience, persistence, and the Lebanese context is not always that fertile. We live in a region which is very volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. Our resources are not always ours. There are always powers which try to abuse our resources. That's why I was very eager to come to Africa, because I can identify with this resourceful country which made it very vulnerable to colonialism, to many superpowers trying to abuse the resources. So these challenges, whether in Lebanon or in Africa, lead to necessities, and these necessities make many of the beautiful young faces which I've seen today very ready to be entrepreneurs, especially when surrounded by the right people.
Mikael Andersson, front row, you flew in this morning. I got in from Sweden. You were an athlete, and you saw a need after you were done playing sports. You saw a market opportunity to help companies secure, what, sponsorships, placements of ads on jerseys, to help clubs get sponsorships. Nobody taught you how to do that, but you saw there was a need. Someone needs to do it, and you figured out a way how to get the idea to execution. You were one of the most successful entrepreneurs, self-made, that I know. On stage with us, Dr. Tony, you said something earlier that really hit home with me. And it's interesting that we all look at entrepreneurship a little differently. I think we're all entrepreneurs. I'm confident that in your code, if you were to go all the way back, 400 ancestors on your left, moms, 400 on your right, in there were entrepreneurs. They had to sell themselves to somebody else in some way. Hey, I've got this, you have that. How do we work together? They had to create opportunities for their own family. They had to get to know people. They were becoming business owners if they liked it or not, because you are the brand. People buy you, do they not, Dr. Tony?
That is correct. People, in fact, when I worked for the Kellogg Company, one of the slogans was, we are passionate about our brands.
Wow.
And we must have the hunger and humility to learn. And I say, for me, we all recognize that gift that is within us. And sometimes we may feel worthless, we may feel less worthy. So let me just for a second address those who are gifted academically. When I was earning my doctorate degree in food science, I didn't know what food science really meant. But I remember my grandmother as a food trader, which brought me into the agriculture and food sciences in the first place. At 10 years of age, my uncle who raised me took me to the farm and he said, Tony, that is your plot. He's a teacher and we're talking about farming. Little did I know that my destiny was going to be tied to feeding the world. From seeing my grandmother trade in fish, in yam, and all kinds of food commodities, I didn't realize that I would finally become a scientist because of the gift of learning. I can write notes. Every word the teacher says in class, I am one of those who writes it down.
The nerd.
Amen to that. And at the end of the day, I felt PhD. Guess where I went to look for a job? 7-Eleven.
Did you say 7-Eleven?
7-Eleven. I have an earned PhD. Coming from Nigeria, you feel so timid and intimidated. Where do you even go? And this is the catch. I think some of you said it. If you don't work hard, you can look forward to a miserable life. And when God surrounds us with people, with good people, and you have the heart to serve, the heart of service is what brings me to this place today. When Dr. Sumi and the team, I don't know how they found me and my name somewhere on the internet. They reached out to me and said, would you be willing to serve as a board member of the E-Village? I tell you, my first meeting in Abuja, I was scared if these were scammers.
Yeah.
It's the truth. But bottom line is, know who you are, believe in your gifts. Your gift comes from our Maker. Your time may be delayed, but it will never be denied. When the good Lord brings people into our lives, learn to value and cherish relationships. Who am I from some small village? Father wasn't there, my uncle raised me, grandma raised me. People just like you. They talk to you and say hello. Learn to develop those relationships. And never think that your academic degree, especially in this environment, Nigeria, that you don't yet have a job. The entrepreneurship is in you. And the gift is from within. And let favor continue to follow you so you can fulfill what God's purpose is for your life.
Nurture relationships. Isn't that interesting? Nurture, why would you want to do that? Well, when you're around people that it sounds like have succeeded in their areas, being around them. So I wrote this down, that business is an exchange of interests. A very, very successful man, Luis, publisher and CEO in Monaco, one of the Monegasque there, he said that to me once. He's Brazilian. Partner, business is an exchange of interests. It's an exchange of interest. You need to bring value. Now, on the brand building side, how do we do that when maybe we don't have that much value or don't think we do? Do we bring value?
Of course, we have. Let me share a story with you. A story that will be inspiring to everyone. A story that took place 1 year ago. I went through 4 or 5 businesses right now, and each one of them I have to find where our value is within. But let me give you a life story. 1 year ago, I met my partner from CEO of Fairfax International. And we were talking about the new regulations from the European Union, the CBAM regulations, preventing goods coming into Europe without having a sustainability report or a traceability report, where they want to measure the carbon footprint in any of these products before they get into the EU, so they stop what they call the carbon leakage. I have no idea what all of these terms are. I didn't know anything about traceability, sustainability, carbon, any of these things. So when he was telling me about this, and I said, okay, then the future lies in creating a traceability, a life cycle assessment for any product in order to take it within the US, to Europe, to Africa, to any place, in food, everywhere. You need traceability for livestock, traceability for agriculture, traceability for commodities, traceability everywhere. And in order to become compliant to the new regulations, you need that kind of measurement. You need to measure. And so let's do an MRV, measurement, reporting, and validation of these carbon footprint to show what kind of mitigation that these efforts, environmental efforts that are affecting your industry, so that you have the big brands that will be able to enter different international markets. And you know what? 1 year of studying resulted in a company that it's a pioneering in high tech of creating the most advanced automated MRV, utilizing IoT, utilizing machine learning, utilizing computer vision, and utilizing blockchain for verification and so that you don't create ledgers that are mutable. You need to have it in immutable ledgers. Exactly. And then going to governments and say, hey, this is your solution to carbon mitigation. This is your solution to your NDC, your national determined commitment to drop your carbon emissions, your footprint, and factories. This is your solution so you can accompany to your products worldwide. So out of one talk, one regulations, you created an opportunity. And the opportunity created a tech opportunity. The tech opportunity created a demand or solved a problem for so many industries.
Mike, that's something you've always told me, is that the opportunity is always there. I said, what opportunity? The opportunity. What does that mean? The opportunity is always there.
That's a good question. No. The opportunity is always there when you're ready to see it. That's what I usually say, when you're ready to see it. But you will never be ready if you haven't really given the full of you. So I'll give you a good example. So I've built one company and it took me 7 years to make it a $400 million company. But I wasn't ready to make it a $400 million company before after 7 years. So it took me 6 years to barely make it to 100 million. And it took us 1 year to go to another 400. So the opportunities are always there, but I learned that, to really see them, you gotta wake up and you gotta take an intentional decision of be the absolute best version you can be. And that is an active choice you have constantly. Like you have a choice to wake up and say, all right, who am I going to create today? Because you can create who you want to be. Today I'm going to be the most persistent, I'm not going to swear, but the most persistent person in the room. Today I'm going to be the most kind person in the room. Today I'm going to be the wildest opportunity chaser in the room. Today, and when you do that, opportunities will arise. So when you decide to, for example, many people, they come to me and they say, oh my God, it looks like you spend a lot of hours in the gym. I don't. I just spend it consistently every day, 1 hour, and opportunity arises of getting a little bit of muscles. And the same goes in with your sales calls. Like you do sales calls every single day, and if you just do 10 extras or a little bit extra and do it on a consistent basis, opportunities will arise. So if you are waking up and you go absolute hardcore at it, I'll guarantee you will have 10x opportunities in your life, everywhere.
So I'm going to ask the front row here. Thank you, Mike. I'm going to ask my friends in the front row, and I'm going to go down the line to the entrepreneurs. How many hours a week do you think you committed to build your business or to become an expert in your area or specialty? You can even shout it out. Jeff, how many hours did you commit building your business? He said, I'm going to tell you when I'm done learning. You don't stop. I think up front here they would agree. You never turn it off. How many here say, well, I can tell you in the United States we have like this thing where people work 40 hours. I'm like, you want to be average? 40 hours is to be average. 50 hours is what? To give yourself a little job security maybe? 60 hours? Okay, you're out working the others that stopped at 50. Elon Musk was asked how many hours he commits. Now, I'm not suggesting you do this, but he said 60, 80 hours a week, 80 to 100. I mean, it doesn't end. And when you're in the early days of building your company, whatever that business is, you must become obsessed with it, or you will not succeed. I see people approach me all the time with ideas, and I ask them, okay, tell me about your day. Tell me about your day. How does your day begin? Because people say they run out of time. We're going to talk to the moms here in a minute. Time. I remember complaining to an adopted uncle of mine, and I was complaining to him about time once. He calls me Dust. He's like, Dust. I've never run out of 1 minute to do the things I really want to do. Don't tell me you didn't find time. You always have a minute left, and I see my entrepreneurs on the stage. How does your day begin? I'm going to start with you, Mia. Tell me about your day. How does your day begin?
So, I just to go back to one of your other questions, I was putting in about 100 hours of work for about 10 years straight. I ended up getting burnt out during that process as well, prior to commencing a PhD in governance and public policy. So I actually started my business out of a need. Like Dr. Bello, I would say never despise small beginnings. While I had finished my second master's in global business, I was having a really difficult time actually getting a job. So I had to figure out, how am I actually going to get any income? And so what I did was, as I share with you all, is to leverage the skill set that I had developed in university from founding a nonprofit that I started, where I was doing work with people in the homeless community and also focusing on youth education. So through that nonprofit, I was managing everything from sponsorships, fundraising, events, marketing, even developing it from the ground up. So when it came to my business, I actually packaged all of the skills that I had, and I developed my consultancy. So as I would say, throughout that process of even starting the business, it was a struggle. I had 2 masters, and I was 25 years old, couldn't get a job, and so I actually ended up getting a job where I was getting paid $7 an hour. It was a security job. I got that job because Beyonce had a concert in New Orleans, and I wanted to go front row, but I couldn't afford the tickets. So I ended up getting the job as a security. And because I was actually the most educated security, most people had a high school education only, I ended up becoming the security for all of the celebrities, the governor, even for our former quarterback for the New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees, and his family. So, as I said, never despise small beginnings. You might be in a situation where you're working at a company and you feel like, oh, maybe people are looking down on you. People were actually quite surprised that I was working there, but not me, because I was willing to put in that work, just like I was willing to put in the 100 hours a week to hone my craft. So all it takes is to, as my panelists have shared, to fill a gap, leverage your skill sets, and continue to be consistent. Don't expect anything to happen overnight. it's taken me over 15 years in business to reach this level of success where I'm here today addressing you all.
Mastery. I don't know if you are reading a good book, but there's a book I read this summer, and a very, very successful multi-billion founder of multiple companies turned me on to it. It's called Mastery. And it's a rather long book, but it talks about the masters around the world that have succeeded at the top of their trade, top of their craft, how they do it. And not all of them were handed on the way up. They had to outwork others to become an expert. And mastery takes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of dedication. But let's kind of start a little basic fundamentals. I've got this idea, Mamatake. It's in my head. How do I get this idea out of my head, and what do I do with it from there?
It all depends on how hungry and thirsty you are.
Nice.
I must say. You have to be hungry enough to want it and thirsty enough.
So starving. You got to be starving.
I am starving.
You're starving.
So the drive that gets you from one point to the next is driven by what's inside of you. If that lion or lioness is sleeping, you'll be snoring and we'll be moving, because we are hunters, we're hunting. You hunt for the next opportunity, you hunt to get to the next level. But what's important is this: we sit on dreams and opportunities and not realize how big they are because we don't want to explore the possibility of this big dream. We're sitting here in this room as Africans, happy to take resources, happy to take our intellectual property, happy to take all the IP that we have and serve it to the rest of the world raw as it is. We are not recreating and producing what is final for the world to consume in Africa. And for that, I don't think we are hungry enough. I don't think poverty has stricken to the level where we understand that we need to use what we have to sustain and grow ourselves as Africans and as entrepreneurs. So I urge you today to be hungry enough to go out there and push to get those opportunities. But when you have a dream, as you asked Dustin, to nurture that dream, and I don't want us to be ignorant or naive of this fact. You may have a dream, but that dream means absolutely nothing without any fertilizer, any water, any sunlight, and all those things are people and networks that are around you. So in order for you to get opportunities, I always meet people that are very arrogant and be like, I know what I'm going to do, I know this, and they're so arrogant about it. Listen, if you're not kind, if you're not friendly, if you're not open to learn, no one's going to give you an opportunity. Because as we see you, you've made it. Because that's how you walk, that's how you behave, that's how you carry yourself. So it's important also to go and dig deep into who you are and be open enough to allow us to be able to say, I can water this seed. So I urge young people and entrepreneurs also to open up, to allow us as people that are willing to invest in you to be able to do so without any doubt. Thank you.
Thank you so much. About 5 years ago, I was struggling to level up. I candidly wanted more. I wanted more in my business. I wanted more professionally in my personal life. And I was able to be in front of a business mentor. The guy's name was Dan Pena. And he said something to me profound. He says, give me your cell phone. I had kids at that time, so there was going to be nothing inappropriate. I hand him over my cell phone. And he starts flipping through all of the people I've been texting on my phone. And at the end he goes, okay, show me your friends and I will show you your future. I want you to think about that. The people that are taking your time, the people that are your friends, your buddies, whoever they are, look at that group of people every single day and say, are they going to be able to take you to that next level in business? Because you are here, I have to imagine, to build something potentially its impact greater than you, as we have some remarkable entrepreneurs here in the front that are focused on impact. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Dr. Tony, you are shaking your head to that one.
Yes, sir.
What do you think?
I tell you, I try to watch leaders to learn from leaders and leadership. Two people that have made the greatest impact in my life. One is my pastor. He's 1 year older than me, but I say he's daddy. He's not my friend. I don't know him. He doesn't even know me. When you realize that at the end of the day, you need people that you can learn from, it is a key to helping you move from step A to step B to step Z at the end of the day. I won't mention the names, but again, it goes back to the gift. What are those gifts that are in you? And that one single gift, one is all you really need. And people will come to you. You will meet people who would help you to get to the next level. That was in the United States, my pastor. But in Nigeria here, I met a visionary. Someone who believes there are truly no boundaries. And he advocated that the next billionaires in Nigeria will not come from the oil and gas industry. It will not come from real estate. I don't want to say AI because we didn't know much about AI at the time. But he said it will come from the soil, from the seeds. And this is for me why I was nodding. I got you. At the end of the day, no matter what the situation may be in our lives, there is a seed from within. And if we would plant that seed and allow others to water that seed, you will begin to see the fruits. And so for us, we don't have assets in the business we are doing. We are relying on others who have put in the sweat, but we are helping their businesses to grow so that our own business can thrive. And that niche for us is the consumer food in terms of gluten-free. That cassava is the best ingredient you can use for that. We have found that niche and we've gone global and leverage other people's assets. The business people would say leverage other people's money, but it's not always money in cash. The money could be the trust capital that people place in you.